Ryan, I'm trying to be very professional here.
I love how it crept up from the bottom as well. Like, it didn't just come in, it just crept up. Like Ryan went down as it went up.
Get a brew and sit your ass down for the Nice Guys of Comedy podcast. Nice Guys of Comedy. The Nice Guys of Comedy. And here are your hosts, real life Northerners, Jack Vincent and Nick Crooks.
They're from up north, gravy and chips. So listen to the words coming out their lips. I said they're from up north, gravy and chips. So listen to these words coming out their lips.
Welcome to the Nice Guys of Comedy podcast. You are joined by your regular hosts, me, Nick Crooks, and Jack Vincent. Whoop, whoop. And our guest tonight is Ryan Lee.
That's me. You forgot my name.
That's me.
That's me. It's me.
That's me. Yeah.
Yes, Ryan is here to. Well, in actual fact, this is the second time we have had Ryan Lee on, and the first time it happened again, it just didn't fucking record.
So this is the second tribute episode.
Yes, it is, but it's also the first episode of season 2 of the Nice Guys of Comedy podcast. We are changing things up slightly. So from now on, this is going to be a weekly podcast because, as it has now happened, comedy is back-ish. Comedy is back. So as it's happened now, we've actually all gigged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've gigged and I've been to a gig.
Yes.
Both of them for Jacker clubs.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't going to mention my club name, but you know, I wasn't going to mention that both events were sold out, and you know, we've got another day in the calendar. But you know, I'll anyway. Yeah, but no, comedy's now back, and as September goes on, I'm an editor of the podcast because Nick does fuck up, but I'm also
Nick works for a living, so just.
But do you edit the podcast though? Like,
Look, I built a bike shed in a fucking day. All right.
Okay.
Don't you play computer games at your job?
What? Someone listens to the podcast.
My favourite thing is though, like every time I message Nick, like I don't think I've ever messaged you and you've had, oh, what you up to? I'm doing a fuck all day. You're building a bike shed, you're up some scaffolding, you're doing this, you're doing that. Like you're a proper, like, you're a labourer dad. That's what you are.
Oh, I made a, like...
I think he's just a dad. I think
we were talking about old things from your childhood just a minute ago. And just, my nan has been on at me to take these action men from my house. So my mum, like, put a load of action men together. She's like, it's all there.
Yeah.
You need to take it. Right? I'm like, Mum, look, I've got a 2-bedroomed terraced house. All right? The kids have got fucking toys already. Calm down. I'm not taking some fucking 90s shit home with me. Anyway, we've picked a couple, because if my son plays with them, I've said, pick a couple. If you play with them, you can have them all. Anyway, I've gone into this box. Everything's not there. All of them are naked. They're like having a gay orgy in there.
Yeah.
Right? I said to my mum, there's no clothes. She went, yeah, there is. I said, no, there isn't. So I've like scrambled some clothes together to make 3 decent action men. One of them's a blow dart one that's got no blow darts. So I've made this afternoon. I made a blow dart for the action man this afternoon when I got home from work.
What have you made it out of?
Oh, I just made it out of paper. You put it over the end of the blow dart. And...
I don't know why, but for a very split second, then I thought you were giving your kids a pin, like just a little pin, and I was
I tried it with a match, but the match were too heavy.
Ah, okay.
And I had to really blow into it, and when I blew into it, it fired the match across the room like a bullet.
And struck against something, and now you don't have a house.
I can't be giving the kids that fucking projectile.
But no, to go back to the original point, sorry, yes. So because I'll be returning back to university, weirdly enough, I'll be returning in a couple of weeks, but I will be getting my timetable this end of this week. You guys don't care, but I just thought I'd let you know. So as a result, our timetables are going to be getting packed up because, let's face it, including Ryan in this one, we are very busy men. And
Yeah.
we're going to be such in demand on the comedy circuit once it reopens that. Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing at me more than anyone else. I've had two gigs this year, but obviously as everyone has.
Yeah, so it's just we just don't have the availability that we did in lockdown. Because I mean, I actually have to start wearing trousers lately. It's annoying. So yes, we're going to go back down to We're going to go to 1 a week. Also, the intro probably would have been put in by now. We have a new intro. That I mentioned at the beginning of this time rather than at the end because I forgot last time. We've got a new intro which will be provided by Alex Camp, who is also a Manchester-based comedian who has found a new talent during lockdown. But let's crack straight into it. So, one thing that I remember that we did speak about last time, and I want to talk more about because I actually found it hilarious. Now, Ryan, as well as being a fledgling comedian and making people howl with laughter and educate them about the vagina. By the way, you need to watch Ryan's set to understand about the vagina. Because also he didn't realise that then, which was even more awkward.
Well, I just thought
crowds of people
no, because
going,
because you said teaching, and I was like, yeah, I'm a teacher, and I was like, I teach 5-year-olds. I don't teach them anything to do with the vagina. But then I realised you're still talking about the comedy.
If you'd have listened to the podcast that we did with Helen Swallow, sometimes children need talking about giant vaginas in museums.
Mate,
Okay.
Yeah, done that before as well. I have done it, but I wouldn't choose to. I don't want to. You have something called a big talk where people come in and they say like what you're allowed to touch, what you're not allowed to touch, what's private, what's all this sort of stuff.
What are you allowed to touch?
Well, obviously yourself, but not in an
Please
appropriate
tell
manner.
me it's a blow parachute pants with loads of pictures and goes, can't touch this. No.
It's not, unfortunately.
What the Mr. Right trick there? Come on.
Yeah, no, it's like it's weird, but then you still get kids after that just don't listen and they just sit there having a poo with door open, showing everyone, and that's what I get. But yeah, so I don't teach. That's not my. I don't teach them that. I teach them 2 + 2 and stuff.
Yeah, you are a bit scared of the vaginas. Let's face it. Not that you're into anyway. Right. My original point was you've in lockdown. You've been doing some odd jobs. You actually took up a bit of a gardening job recently, haven't you? Now, what I want you to do is tell. You know what story I want people to tell. So I want you to tell the story that happened, but then also try to convince our listeners and Nick, because in all fairness, Nick's someone who might want a gardener one day. I don't have a garden, so I don't care. Nick might want a garden. Why should someone still hire you once they've heard the story?
Well, so the story is that I, obviously, as Jack said, like I'm a teacher, but I'm a supply teacher, so I don't get any work over at summer. Never does anyone else, anyway. But long story short, been doing up my mate's garden, been helping him out with that. He said he'd help me out by paying me, obviously, and
he'll help me out. You mean he'll pay me for the service?
He'll pay me for the services. But then, yeah, and I just thought, I'd had a pretty rubbish couple of weeks. I thought everything's going swimmingly. I'm mowing the lawn. I took the lawnmower, brought it up to the top of the garden, did a little bit of the lawn, but the only reason I did a little bit is because I cut through the fucking wire, didn't I? And it were a nice lawnmower as well, and I was just.
That means if it was a shit one, that's even worse. If it were a fucking nice mower,
no,
it'd
but
be
like,
an Aldi one. Fuck it.
It just made me feel more guilty that I'd broken it after
It were a fly mower, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah, fucking fly mower. Of course it was.
Of course you know the brand. Of course you know the brand, Nick.
Fly mower's the only mower you go for. Come on. I mean, anyone who knows a mower.
If I'm honest, it's the only one that I know. So yeah, I'll take that. I'll give you that.
My mum used to have a petrol one, but this one were wire. Obviously, I cut through wire. It was awful. I sat and cried on the floor for about 5 minutes trying to fix it. I cut it clean in half. It wasn't like I mauled it. It just like a loaf of bread.
Just getting 2 bits of wire going.
Just trying to. I stripped the wires. I got the but it were a I can't remember what they're called now, but it's a plug where it's in, and once if you open the plug up, It's fucked. It's basically where you can get to the fuse from the outside of the plug. Long story short. But yeah, people should hire me because I've completed the garden now, pretty much. We're just waiting on deliveries of stuff. So back in it.
Just got some scissors out. Finish the garden.
Just, yeah, it doesn't take that long. Just on my hands and knees.
My favorite thing in that is how you're like, I've completed the garden now. Ryan, you still hadn't done this when we recorded this originally a week ago. It's taken you another week to do this garden.
Oh yeah, but it is a nice garden. It's a really nice garden. There's loads of jobs to do. One of the things that I quite liked, actually, weirdly, were like they had an irrigation system for watering flowers and that for watering the flowers. Nothing. Yeah, I said that to Gary, and Gary did the same thing. He went, "Wait, what? What for? Like to water flowers? Little permeable pipes that you."
This garden might have had its own like fucking state and its own head of state and shit. Like this is the garden of gardenia. Like,
Yeah, you go out and water the flowers. Yeah. Boom, switch, all of them watered.
That's it. And it just waters them all at once, and that was my favourite job. That's why it took a little bit longer, but yeah, it's a good little effort. It was nice, and now I've just started painting and sat on my bed.
Yeah, you're doing a lot of painting. I think in lockdown. I mean, I know it's easing now, but I think a lot of people took creative projects up. I mean, as well, now that comedy is coming back as well, your creative exploits of creating large phallic objects, Nick, that's going in the forefront.
You could shoot off on that again.
Actually, wait. Here's this could be. I don't know why I've never asked this before. What made you make a giant dildo? I know you've mentioned you wrote the bit.
Nick.
No, like, do you know what? Ryan's got partly to blame for the joke idea. I don't think he knows this story, but we were at Stodfold in Halifax gigging, and Ryan was there, and he'd brought some friends.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And one of the lassies said something about the shirt. She said, "Oh, we're talking about jeans." I was talking about jeans, how it's hard to find jeans in my size because I'm fat but short. So I was talking about jeans, and she said something like, "You can get them from Next." And I said, "Do you think I've got money to shop at Next? I'm wearing a shirt that looks like Neil Buchanan's spunk, for fuck's sake." And it got a massive laugh, and it just came off. I don't know where that came from, but it was just obviously she heckled, and that's where it came from. So
I think I know who it was as well.
We're not crediting her, then he's got to give her the money. Fuck that shit. Don't let her know. Don't let her fucking know. But no, that. I do like it though that when like going on to comedy is how you can get an idea, you can back off one person, and it suddenly becomes a thing. And as a result of that, now I mean, I'm not saying that you are the giant dildo man, Nick, but you are the giant dildo man. Like,
yes. Anyone else? You're the beginning of props. Like I don't know anyone else that does any props from our genre of ultra.
But on that as well, though, you do props well. Like you're not. It's not gimmicky. You do it very well.
Go big or go home. That's my attitude. You can't go with half-assed. It's got to be a well thought out idea.
That's it. Yeah.
It has.
Like I could have walked on with. I don't know. I mean, walking on with like a dick or blow ups or something. It's just it's funny, but still, it's just not very well.
Because in all fairness, the thing is with yours as well. I'm not giving away the majority of your set, but I'm giving away the majority of your set here. Part of the extra bit of your set is of what it's made out of and how you've made it, and you've made it a whole big, and you've weirdly enough and annoyingly enough done fucking very well with it. So
a lot of my things I find though, like I try and stick with sort of stories for me about family or things that have happened to me, or like I might work the lawnmower story in at one point, but little extra bits like there's a bit in mine where I'm talking about at the end saying kids give you insults as they are you pregnant? After your gig, Jack, at the corner, R.I.P. It's what do you call it? Lippy came up to me.
I remember you saying, and
he gave me the idea of doing like getting a call back in, and obviously getting as many callbacks, getting the rule of three, and trying to fit a lot of stuff in without it sounding unnatural can be quite difficult. So it's good when people point things out or give you inspiration, I think.
Completely.
As long as it's not your whole set.
Yeah. No, the thing is, as well, when you're talking about, because everyone has their own like kind of side things on it as well. The one thing I would say, because obviously Nick, you're very visual. You're very, very visual in what you do.
Yeah.
And what with you though, Ryan, one thing that I would find actually quite frustrating, but equally as a writer, but equally for you, I think one of your sticks is a lot of, I'd say 80 to 90 to 100, nearly 100%. You don't like writing stuff that's not real. Like
I prefer it to be true, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember we've worked ideas, and I said, "Oh, why don't you do this or why don't you do that?" And you've gone, "Yeah, but that didn't happen." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's fucking comedy, mate. Do you really think I haven't worked in Ford in 2 fucking years, mate? Like, calm your fucking passions." And you're like, "I like it to be true." So I think that's. I mean,
I think it's harder to get behind something that's fake, though.
Yeah,
Like to laugh. If you know it's true and you can laugh at it, you say if you know it's funny and you laugh at it, obviously like I don't know what he does with his wife. You know,
Yeah.
Neil Buchanan. I don't know, but that's just me just taking the piss. But most of my other stories are pretty much true.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Like, I think it's not got to be entirely true. Like, there's an element of truth. There's got to be, for me, an element of truth behind it. Like, I'm talking about, I talk about my friend in my set, who's a bit.
Well done.
He's not all there. Yeah, thanks. But he.
Oh yeah, your friend, okay, you weren't there for this, Nick. Do you know when we did for those listening at home, we had a night on Sunday at the Black Line in Bramley, Leeds, and Nick was the debut MC, and Nick Ryan had come down and watched with a friend, and I was at one point I was doing something, and Ryan came over to him, "Do you know how I talk about my friend and we're in my set about blah blah blah?" And I was like, "Yeah," he went, "That's him," and I was. I was like, all right, that's cool. How proud it was! Like, that's him. That's it.
Yeah, but then you went. I won't picture him as your mate.
He didn't. Okay, right. I'm not saying that like because in all fairness, like especially my small circle of friends, like if you look at us, you won't put me having 2 black girls as friends. I've got
just going to say 2 friends. Just stop at that.
I'm not saying that everyone's like you all look alike, but at certain times, if you look at someone and then look at the friend, you're like, I can see you two being friends. But when you walked in with, I was like, I'd put him as my friend. Like I feel like we and him looked similar in the sense of like rock type, disheveled, blah blah blah. And I was like, no, I wouldn't really put you two as friends, but. Hey ho, hey. Who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? I mean, I won't talk about the truth bit though. A lot of my material, even though I'm not going to sit there and say it's all, because it's not all lies, but it's been embellished. Like I do have a friend, a dealer. We know we've had on the podcast. Well, we've had an image on a podcast, and
I was going to say, have we had her on the podcast? Where the fuck was I? This is that other podcast you've been fucking doing, is it?
We had her image on the podcast, and then Nick spent 5 minutes calling her a porn star.
Right. To be fair, that's a compliment. I'm sorry.
I don't know what.
Do you know how much people make on OnlyFans at the minute? If you look good, you're worth 70k a year, aren't you? Let's be honest.
Let's be honest. You're not earning half as much thanks to Bella Thorne. Let's be so.
She ain't even getting a faff out.
No, that's the point. She's not even getting a faff out.
Kerry Katona's selling pictures of herself. 500 quid, you can see her minge.
No.
Swear to God, OnlyFans.
Okay, right.
I thought she'd have been selling old boxes of Iceland food.
OnlyFans, subscribe and I'll get you a good deal on some fish fingers.
Literally the most beige OnlyFans ever.
Right, here's a question then. As 2 up-and-coming comics who, this could be your career, how much would a picture of your cock would you sell for? Now, right now.
Now. Tenner.
Next month's rent.
Does it have my face in it? Does it have my face in it, or is it just me cock?
Depends on how far down you can reach. Bend, I meant, not reach.
Look at me, I'm not that big.
I don't mean that. I'm not very flexible. I won't be able to do it.
Both, Nick, both.
Both. So you've got your face in there. It's got to be a lot. I've got kids. If I didn't have kids, then maybe. I do find it a bit weird. Like, each to their own, but I do find it a bit weird when you've got kids. I mean, if you're earning, like, a lot of money, like, enough to go buy a car outright, then fair play to you, fine. But I do find it a bit weird. You know, I wouldn't really like it if I were going to school and, you know, my mates were going, yeah, your mum got a minge out last night. Yeah, I had because she shut the door. Yeah, it's all right, but I'm eating fucking caviar on toast, you cunts. Like,
see, I had this conversation weirdly enough with my mum. There's no need to know why.
she didn't walk in and go, Jack, what do you think about me setting up an OnlyFans?
No, it went all the way around. Said it to her.
Do you know what? You really froze on there. So I'm out on the record. I don't think it did. So for me, I have a very strong feeling that I'm going to get a recording and it's just going to be giggling, or I'm going to hear the punchline to that one. But I'm going to ignore it because it's about my mum. So let's just fucking move on from that one. But no, I'd had the conversation with my mum. I'd said how would you feel about your kids like going into porn or anything like that? And I openly said, I don't think I could do it. Take away the element of working in a creative industry and stuff like that. I've got a nephew. Now, it's not a son, but I've got a nephew. And for me, I know what scrolling through Pornhub's like, right? Sometimes you're not searching for something. It's just there. And you're like, oh, I'll click on that one. I'll click on that one. Click on one. If he clicks on a video and then I'm there, that's going to scar that fucker for life.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, I was like, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. And then, like, he's then got to look at me. And then, like, if I go for a job interview and that guy's like, I recognise this. Oh, I've seen his arsehole. I've seen his arsehole. And if you've seen someone's arsehole, you've got to give him a job.
Depends doing what. Depends if they need to replace someone's fly mower or not.
You do, though, don't you? Like, I ain't being funny. Like, if you've seen someone's butthole and then you don't give them a job, that's pretty harsh.
oh my God.
Are you talking about like an actual paid job or like a rim job? Or like
No, I meant like a job interview, not.
I've seen it now, so I've got to. Oh, it's like a dog. Oh, I wonder what that tastes like.
I wonder what that tastes like.
I can't imagine that.
I'm not putting any fucking peanut butter on it.
Well, maybe that'll help. I don't know.
Oh my God.
But yes, I'd find it weird that if I met someone in a new environment and then they'd seen me butt ass naked, I don't know. I'm very comfortable in my own body, and I'm happy for people. This can sound really weird, and I'm not going to get myself naked, but I'm quite happy with people who I know have seen me in states of undress, but not knowing that someone's seen me naked or not. I find that weird.
We were talking about like what we've been doing during and I said painting before. What would you ever do like posing nude for a
yeah, hands down.
Like
if anyone wants to draw me naked, get in my DMs, right?
Draw me like one of your friends.
Oh, no word of a lie. No word of a lie, right? I'm gonna put this, and I don't know how to. On this podcast, I've ruined my chances of getting a job because I've talked about how much I just fuck them off and quit, right? I'm a lazy ass bastard, right? Me laying with minimal clothes for 3 hours is the perfect job. I don't have to do anything but lay there.
It'll have to be after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, though, won't it?
I got up at 10 o'clock this morning.
Oh, did you?
I know, I was quite shocked myself.
Yeah. So I was saying before, right, that's what we're going to say. So you're on about OnlyFans. Do you remember? I mean, I'm a little bit older than you, but not much. But
Us.
I'm sure it's still around now, but it used to be a website. I think it's just an app now, but Hot or Not. Remember Hot or Not?
I'm sure was that a thing that went around school where like some one would put a randomer on it, from
Something
school.
like that. I can't remember.
And then you
that.
vote if they're hot or not.
And yeah, it's like from 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Like, well, like a nappy then. Like you blowing
It does,
noses.
yeah, it does.
No, it's true.
This is the start of Nick's OnlyFans.
Yeah, nappy blowing. But no, we went on that and like yeah, it'd be so disheartening because somebody would just put your picture up and you'd go on and you'd check your stats for it, and it'd be like 2.9 out of 10, and then girl that's gone round like with snot all down her sleeve and stuff that were popular. This was an actual experience, but not for me. This is
I can tell it is.
He had to pick 2.9
So-
straight out. He knew the
Yeah.
number and they went 2.9.
2.9. And she got like 7 out of 10. Now I'm not saying, snotting beautiful, but it's just I don't know. It's just a higher, like she got a higher one than my friend did, and it's just weird. Like we saw one of his teachers on there once. Obviously it's not OnlyFans. It's not rude. It's just a picture of her face, but it's weird. We see her every single day at school, but then we saw her on computer and we went, "Oh, that's you."
I remember when I was in. I remember finding my teachers on Facebook, and I was like, "That's a human. That's a person."
Some of my teachers I'd like to find on Facebook.
Well,
yeah, here's how weird this. I'm going to tell you this story before you go into all else. At school, we had an art teacher. I'm not going to name her, just in case she's fucking listening to this, right? But it went round that someone had access to her computer, right? And he was an IT like whiz sort of thing in our school, and he put, you know how you can when you log onto sort of the network at school, nearly everyone has access to like certain folders.
yeah.
Well, he put it as like an open folder, and in it, because she was an artist, she'd taken photos of herself naked in the bath.
No.
Like a mirror. Like, so the photo was like of the mirror, taken of the mirror, but then reflection like her, like this.
Do you mean like
and I'm
fully
guessing
starkers, or do you mean like a film noir, like a little nice sort of artistic shot, or do you mean
It was
just
an artistic shot, but in him, she was naked, so she'd have like a rose, and then like a weird lamp, and then a mirror, and then the mirror was like hitting where she was in the bath, and there were like all different photos like that, and they went round school for absolutely ages.
Dirty bastards. Dirty
so how many copies have you got
bastards.
left then, Nick?
You know, I couldn't. No one could believe it. No one could believe it. Everyone like, oh, have you heard about that hidden folder? And then everyone looked for it, and it wasn't really hidden. You just went into like off this folder, and boom, there they were.
The most,
Fired.
yeah,
No.
the most shocking thing about a teacher I remember in high school that we had was on non-uniform day when Mrs. Burns came in Converse. We were like, oh my god, she wears trainers.
Yeah, we had someone sneeze and his wig fell off. That were. I was in the class at the time. See it.
Oh my
This-
days.
The wig fell off.
Imagine if it didn't fall off though, and it just span round every time it span round. We actually made the teacher quit. Well, not me personally, because I was a good student, but the class. It was a religious studies class. And do you remember? Obviously, you know Little Britain.
Yeah.
You know the Prime Minister's aide, Sebastian, which is obviously played by David Williams. Yeah. We had a guy come in who was like a trainee teacher, looked exactly like him, and I swear down, looked exactly like him, wore a suit to a point where people started calling him Sebastian. All right. And he didn't like it, right? But then it got worse. We were going, ooh, Prime Minister. That used to go around to a point where at one point he went, right, anyone else calls me Sebastian or says Prime Minister or anything to do with Little Britain, I'm going to end this class and everyone's, in detention, blah, blah, blah.
And then they did.
That just kicked it. That just were like, right, okay, we're going to leave it 10 minutes and then we're going to fucking all just band together and do it. Anyway, ran out crying. Never came back.
Poor Sebastian.
I mean, he really looked like Sebastian. Not that that's the reason to do it, but you know what kids are. Kids are cruel. There's a point where I joined in because you don't want to be the only one. Oh, Nick didn't shout. Oh, he's a right nerd. I was like, ooh, Prime Minister. Ooh.
I like how the start the start of this, you were like, I didn't do anything, and now
I
you're
didn't
like,
start it, but you can't not join in, can you? Because you'd be
yes,
fucked
you
then.
can. Nick,
I've had it.
everyone jumped off a bridge, would you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Everyone went
Like,
for a massive walk for 12 hours, would you?
at the minute where they're like, right, you know, you need to be the one that stands against the crowd. Yeah. If it involves getting the shit kicked out of me, I'm sorry, I'm going with the crowd.
I've seen it before, right, where pretty much that's a similar situation, not taking, it's kind of like getting in trouble, just shouting out or whatever. And there was one kid, and this is when I were a teacher, this is when I were in school, but the one kid didn't join in, and that one kid got told off. Like, and no one else did. And I was like, and I went, no, I didn't say it. And they went, yes, he did. He was mucking, being, silly and all this. This were a few years back. And I went, no, they didn't say anything. And this teacher was adamant. So I sorted it out. I had to go to someone else. I went, no, I'm not having that. And then, but then none of the rest of them got told off either. I thought, well, I've saved that little kid's life. I'm not gonna, not his life, his detention.
You never know.
But-
You never know. That could fucked him up.
so lessons from Mr. Lee. If you ever feel like you are going to get told off by a teacher, don't stand up for your rights. Don't do anything like that. Just go with the crowd. Bully a teacher into early retirement before he's even qualified, and you're going to be fine.
That's no, that was Nick's. Mine would be that we always get told that you're not their friend, you're just their teacher.
I could tell you that, mate. You're not fucking qualified to be the mate. You got a fucking PGCSE, mate. You're fine.
But that's what I mean. But obviously, I'm not going to go around to their house for spaghetti hoops on toast or something. I'm gonna
Nick,
teach
Ryan, no one's expected you to. No one expected you to go around their house.
It's the way that I get what Ryan's saying. It's the way that they have to that they have to put that point on you. Look, you're not the friend. You're the teacher. Yeah,
I take interest in every single one of my pupils. I'm going to say students then. Pupils that I've had. I've always taken an interest in something that they do. I'm quite geeky in myself. Like I like Minecraft and I play all that sort of stuff. So if they're talking about it, of course I'm going to join in. Of course I'm going to be chatty. But then
I think what you said there, though, is really good. And I think it's really important that you keep that message when the police investigate, okay? I'm just gonna put that out there for you.
Well,
I love the idea that you are fucking like, say like there's a kid called Jacob or something and he's like, oh, I did this proper awesome thing on Minecraft. Look, I took a photo, I printed it off, look, it's well good. And you just go over and go, oh shit, that Jacob, I absolutely... fucking, that... Mine is a fucking mausoleum compared to that fucking...
Did you do that in creative mode or survival? Yeah, I bet I can.
Exactly, yeah. Fucking ruin him.
My favourite thing is, right, so my nieces, my eldest niece, she's getting in, I don't know how, but she's getting into Pokemon. And I hadn't seen her, but she'd asked her grandma, my mum, and said, oh, is Uncle Jack into Pokemon? And my mum told me, and I went, oh. Hold my beer. I'll teach you some things. I was into Pokemon before you were even fucking conceived, bitch. I didn't call my niece a bitch. I'm really nice on comms, but out there. But
yeah, you did. Fucking slaps her about. Said, look, if we're going to learn Pokemon, we're going to do some Mr. Miyagi shit, and I'm going to teach you right.
Fuck your new ones. I'll teach you about the Bulbasaur days. So, yeah. What we'll do, we're going to wrap up this first episode there, but just nipping back to the OnlyFans thing. So Nick has kindly offered that if you send him 10 quid, he will send you a picture of a dick. Not necessarily his. He'll just send you a picture of a penis. But what you can do with that picture of that penis when you've donated £10 is we are actually, by this point, where we haven't gone up a water mountain yet, but when you're listening to this, we will have gone up 3 mountains. So yes, well, maybe 1.5, maybe.
We've not done it yet. How do you know we're actually going to fucking complete this?
I'm not looking forward to this. I've not done much prep at all. Like,
so, on that, just a bit of a reminder, a couple of episodes ago, we actually started talking about this idea of comedians up the peak, or which is now called comedians in their peak. Is it in their peak, up the peak, anything?
At their peak.
At their peak. We're at their peak. So we are, and me, Ryan, and Nick are going to be going up a mountain with some, not just us three, that'd be very Brokeback Mountain, but we are going us and some other comedians are going up, and we're raising some money for the Yorkshire Children's Trust and the British Tinnitus Association. We've got a Just Giving page, which will be linked. By the time this goes out, we will have already died. So this will be in our remembrance. But yeah, drop us a donation. We will be doing some videos and some vlogs and on the channel. They won't be available on this, obviously, on Spotify and stuff like that, because we might die. We genuinely might die. Actually, saying that though, we're up there for 12 hours. We might see if we can record something that would be suitable for an audio version. But drop us a bit of a donation. But whilst we're wrapping up then, so Mr. Ryan Lee, where can people find your funny?
They can find my funny on Instagram and Facebook, Ryan Lee Performer, under the same name. I'm on Twitter, right? But I can't remember it. I think it's still Ryan Lee Performer. I think. Okay. But there's like one tweet on there in about 8 months. So
now, obviously, at the moment, do you have any other comedy gigs coming up at the moment?
Not set in stone. Obviously, I've got one in the pipeline with yourself.
So that's the thing as well. Yes, you do actually. I have to get you a date of that. What you do is check out on them social medias just to find out where Ryan is performing. See, I think my mum got you guys confused. You're making me get them confused as well. But yes, get on them social medias and all the others.
Sorry, go on.
No, you wouldn't. I was about to start plugging us. You carry on. What were you going to say?
I was going to say I've got one more gig definitely booked in on the 5th of October at the King's Arms in Horsforth.
There you go. 5th of October, King's Arms. Get yourselves there, guys. Nick, do you have any gigs coming up?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
I wish I had the ones that I had earlier this year booked in, but we won't talk about them. I have got, let me think, I don't know.
Cool, great, good stuff.
Yeah, that's what I did. So the 13th of October.
Okay.
Tingley. I think, yep, Tingley, that sounds right. The 9th of October in Wakey.
Okay. And you can find me at IamJackV on all social medias. And you can also find us as a podcast at NGOC Pod on Twitter, on Facebook, and on YouTube and all them places as well. Yeah. If you are wanting to stick around, the next episode we will continue chatting to Lee Ryan from Blue, and we'll see how it goes from there.
Lee Ryan from Blue.
Get a brew and sit your ass down for the Nice Guys of Comedy podcast.